organisasi, or we call this in bahasa satu badan. Satu badan ni bukan badan orang ataupun kita kata satu group atau satu company atau satu population, satu majikan. Itu makna dia organisasi lah, organizations. Okay, kalau misal kata let's say you are stay in Batu Pahat for example, you are organisasi people who are will stay in the Batu Pahat, nampak? The whole people yang ada kat luar itu, ataupun you are working with the JKR, you are the organisation you are as a JKR. So then we know your task. Okay, clear tak? Boleh tak? Okay, so we start. Okay, so now we start with the engineering firm. Okay, you know engineering firm, I already highlight to you the earlier stage. Even though you are a civil engineers, maybe you are working with the developer, okay, with the client, a developer, or with the authorities. Authorities means you are the some are government and some is we call that is a semi-government, or private sector. For example, if you are your authority working with the majlis anyway, either majlis daerah Keluang or majlis daerah Kuantan or majlis daerah Kelang, whatever lah, so far majlis either you are working with the majlis or you are working with the JKR, they we call as authorities, okay, JKR, or you're working with the JPS, Jabatan Pajak dan Clearance, you are working with the IWK, okay, IWK and Waterworks, these two is more in the private sector. That's why the name is different. When you are in Johor, then we call it SAJ, Syarikat Air Johor. When you are in Perak, we call LAP, Lembaga Air Perak. If you be Negeri Sembilan, we call it as a sign, Syarikat Air Negeri Sembilan. Before di Jamban, Jabatan Perkara Air Negeri Sembilan. So if you are in Terengganu, there will be a satu. This is for example for the waterworks. They are authority, but they are under private sector. Okay. Okay, if you are working with the consultant, normally consultant is private sector. Okay, either they are giant consultant or smaller consultant. Okay, maybe the consultant they are address both parts, civil and structures, and some consultant only zooming with structures, or some consultant zooming with the infrastructures. Depend on that the consultants are. So, and then maybe you are working with the contractors or subcontractors, okay. Or maybe you are a supplier. Okay, clear? These are the type the engineering firm lah. Normally you be involved. So, you see this statement or this point form to say that in this slide, they say that the engineer work in the public or private engineering firm. I already mentioned to you, the public and private. And then they said that engineering firm come in all size. I already mentioned to you, depend. There be a smaller or the bigger. They have a pro and con, okay. Either the construction, operation, maintenance, and so on. So not every engineer in a firm need to be a licensed, but a license is required. You faham maksud dia? Okay. All the engineers working need to register to the board. Okay, itu is a compulsory lah to make sure you are legal engineers, not illegal engineers. And then for the engineers in engineer firm, if that firm is a consultant, there be a compulsory to register to the BM. Okay, only for the consultant firms, compulsory. Okay, these are the requirements. Okay, clear? And then they say these are for under what known as expression said the industry do not have a okay. Okay, So when we talk about supervise means supervision. So when we talk about supervision, we need that team or that engineers should be competent, competence. And then to show that is engineer are competent, normally they are have a PEPC iaitu Professional Engineers Practice Certificate lah, IR lah. That only have in consultants, okay. But in contractor also some of the engineer they still have a IR. And some of the client also they have IR. For example, you go to the JKR, they have a lot of the officers yang ada IR. Right? Before this, I'm working with the Felda as a client. I also have IR. But they mentioned here, they are compulsory for the supervision, supervision teams. We need the IR lah. Normally the supervision is under the consultants lah. Okay, clear So for the industry or for the contractors, they are more in the engineer registered lah. That's why if do you still remember on the chapter 2 to apply the IR, you should have an experience 3 years, right? 1 year in the consultant, 1 year in the contractor, another one for the sorry, not don't mention consultant. One for the design, one for the site experience, another one I don't want. So if you are working directly 3 years with the contractors, normally contractors don't have the engineer license kan, dia tak ada IR. Memang boleh dikira lah kontraktor yang ada IR. So you boleh dapatkan mentor, get the mentor from the IEM, okay, supaya boleh attach dengan that mentor tu, they give you some task supaya dia boleh bantu you untuk get the IR lah, to get there to sit the exam for the IR, because the mentor ni lah akan bagi you task for the design the task okay. And then these kalau you tengok di mention ni, they have a typical engagement in the mechanism work, extensions of the house and so on. Okay, so I already mentioned to you, okay, for any development or for anything, some Alamak, saya tak perasan lah. Saya dah terkeluar because saya tengok the slide. Saya tak tahu kat mana saya dah terkeluar. Hello. Pasal tiba-tiba
Sampai
internet problem.
slide kedua
Saya
je, doktor.
Ya?
Sampai slide kedua je.
Oh, slide kedua je Pasal saya pakai hotspot. Sekarang saya pakai hotspot lah. Pasal UTHM punya dah tak tahu tiba-tiba cut off Mungkin dah balik kot pukul 5 because I still in room masih lagi kat bilik. Okay, sampai ni ya. Slide 2
Slide 4.
Oh, slide 4. Okay,
Sorry.
cantik. Oh, slide
Okay.
4 point nombor 2 Okay, so jelas Do you understand tak benda tu? Yang dikatakan why we need to hire the staff. Normally maybe the number of the staff reduce kan. Mungkin ada yang ada problem ke, ada yang dah berhenti ke, or sakit ke, whatever lah. Tapi normally kebanyakannya kita ambil outsider tu, kita perlukan dia punya expertise lah. Okay, sama juga di consultant If you working with the consultant, apabila dia melibatkan precast punya design in your company, tak ada yang expertise dengan benda tu, so dia dia pun kena employ lah atau dapatkan daripada outsider punya firm lah untuk cover benda tu. Jarang kita as a consultant ke or contractors ke dapat the job, lepas tu tiba-tiba ada part-part yang you tak expert and then you withdraw from that job. Biasa kita tak macam tu lah. Boleh And then consulting firm, dia kata get higher engineering ni, okay, semua you tengok kat sini, the consulting firm, dia akan libatkan ni contohnya land and property developer, government agency, construction firm, large architect, private individual, hospital and so on. These are the consulting firm yang involved lah dalam private ataupun public sector based on untuk nak support the client. I dah mention earlier kat you kan, some our clients they are not really in engineering maybe their background from the marketing or from a lawyer or business and so on. Okay, so they need a support lah with this consulting firm. Okay, clear? Please interrupt you silent and consider everything are in order. And then the government agency, I rasa I dah mention, I dah nak ulang lagi, you muntah. Okay, see they have a new facility, okay, the utility and so on so there be normally government agency, they are more in like macam I mentioned tadi lah, JKR, Majlis and all so they also have a many municipalities as a city, town government hire firm, permanent and so on Nowadays sekarang the government pun, dia punya staff pun, dia dah tak ada offer lagi lah pencen, they go for the KWSP and then majority especially in Pakaiso for example, is not mistaken, Pakaiso is a government, dia still semua dia punya staff banyak majority dia are contract lah. Even though in the UTHM also ada some of the lecturers still contract and so on Okay, clear So dalam satu kita kata sesuatu projek macam I mention kan, they have a multiple discipline dalam sesuatu projek tu. So that's why kat situ untuk jurisdiction untuk handle the project benda tu, so we need the orang kata the goods punya firm yang boleh involve itu. Firm tu macam saya cakap, either dia be a private or dia be a government untuk menyelesaikan sesuatu projek tersebut. Sebenarnya kita nak cerita ni, engineering firm ni, how the engineers contribute to that firm. Sebenarnya cerita tu je. And then how they tie with the project, with their services due to the jurisdiction. Okay, clear? You know why? Because kita tak nak work yang bergerak either in construction ke or in design ke whatever, work yang based on the whatever dia need. Orang tak ada yang pantau, tak ada yang, maksudnya kita nak semua should be as per cooperative, as a reference on. Sebab itu dengan cara jurisdiction tu. Sebab itu kita nak there be a very firm. Maksudnya kita tak nak apa-apa decision yang dibuat, dia attack from the sky. Semacam kalau consultant tu, dia should be designed similar as per code of practice lah. Let's say if they are designer structures, either dia use a BS 810 or dia use a Euro code. For example, if they are designed for the drainage, they are the one that to follow the MASMA. Okay, if they are designed for the road, they need to follow Arhan Jadi JKR. So make sure that all the engineers, these are I mentioned is based on the civil engineers, but in the mechanical and electrical also they have also their cooperative, they have also their reference. So they have some related with their disciplinary. Okay, and then for the large engineering firm to serve a prima handle for overall engineering effort, major project, okay. The biggest firm, for example, I give you the example SSP SSP Cities Pakat Perunding or Run Hills, okay, and then they are biggest. Before this, my previous company is the biggest, Perunding Bersatu. So inside that firm, we have a civil engineers department, we have a electrical, and we have a mechanical. Okay, with the civil also we have the department for the structures and department for the infrastructures. If you go for SSP, there are more details. They have in the infrastructure department, they are break under water department, under geotech department, under if buildings, they have under RC department, a steel department, and so on. Okay, clear? And then architect operate with a smaller fashion for the higher structure and engineering firm as well. Okay, the architect they normally they are support we as a consultant, because normally the architect serve with the client needs. Because architect is more in aesthetic, and then roughly architect are the one yang follow the client requirement lah. For example, okay, let's say client said they want to build up the buildings, so the type of the building, office or shop lot or whatever lah. So then architect we refer to UBBL, Uniform Building Bylaw, Part 3. Okay, as engineers follow the UBL Part 5. Okay. So the private individual hire and they usually involve house building. Ini for example I dah mention kat you. Dia kata building inspection, investigation, structural problem and so on. I dah highlight to you dah. You as a civil engineer, either you are consultant or you are contractor and so on, or you are client. Then the job based on the type of the projects. Let's say for the building already completed, or we call that the existing buildings. If they have any job or any problems or any part or any problem, then they go for the forensics. If they have for the uh, for the continuous punya occupied buildings, then they go for the maintenance. Okay, clear eh? So some they have they do for additional for example uh, additional they want to add in another building, so add in another room or so on. Okay, we call that as a extension works. Okay, for extension work we consider is like a new work lah, totally new lah. Okay, okay, clear. So investigation, maybe you as a contractor, you're working with the SI contractors, for example. Then you go for the boring and so on. Then we go for investigations. Okay? Or you are working with the consultant, you are acting as a forensic. You are the one need to go for the structure integrity. That's why they call it as a structure problems. Okay, clear? Clear? National, you senyap ke okay? Please interrupt Okay, this you no need to do by the formal one. Okay, just you can do your own lah. Kalau yang mana yang rajin-rajin tu buatlah. Yang nak untuk nak bagi apa orang kata true or misconception bukan engineering working in the government agency are unqualified, lazy and are overpaid. They spend all day taking coffee break and browsing the internet. So you can discuss that, debate tapi kalau dengar government agency marah dia, especially JKR ke sebagainya, actually I don't want to comment lah benda ni. Pasal I dah melalui all that pasar benda tu. Satu je lah I nak mention kat you lah. Bila you jumpa satu buah dalam satu bakul, jangan kata satu buah busuk dalam satu bakul buah, jangan katalah satu bakul tu busuk. You faham maksud saya? Bukan semua macam tu. Alah, macam you as a student kan, kalau bukan semua student yang honest yang buat ni, ada yang you pun faham kan, you mesti tahu. Begitu juga lecturer ada lecturer ni ada. Tentulah nak cakap mengumpat tentang saya sebenarnya tak apa-apa nak ni. Bukan saya tak nak share dengan you, sebenarnya dia ada macam-macam cerita ni di sebalik yang mengatakan I'm too quite lazy and I'm overpaid ni. Mungkin sometimes how orang kata the person tu verified orang lah, macam mana you nilai orang tu lah. Kadang-kadang you tak tahu entail, you nampak apa yang you nampak on that time pada masa tu, then you say dia lazy. Contohnya katakanlah hari tu dia nak cepatkan juga because dia tahu kerja ni penting, dia nak siapkan kerja tu. Katakanlah design for example, dia tahu tomorrow klien nak compile semua untuk tender. Kalau dia tak boleh siapkan hari ini, sure the tender will be delayed. So dia datang, dia usaha untuk nak siapkan benda tu. Bagus tak dia? Bagus kan? Tapi masa yang sama dia sakit, dia demam. So dia buat separuh, dia tidur. Dia buat separuh, dia tidur. Dia buat separuh, dia tidur. Tapi akhirnya dia berjaya lah siapkan. So dia, kita consider lazy ke? Consider okay. Siapkan dia. Hello? Dengar ke apa yang saya cakap? Ke saya terkeluar lagi ni?
Dengar, Doktor.
Dengar. Okay. So, I asking you the question that. So, you rasa dia tu lazy ke atau memang dia sebenarnya adalah seorang engineer yang bagus sebenarnya? Sakit pun dapat MC pun dia come to make sure all the design finish, completed, then tomorrow can be do a tendering lah. But they are dalam keadaan yang tak stable. So dia buat kerja sikit and then dia rest, dia tidur, and then dia baring kejap, and then dia pergi ke pantry lah, buat air lah, and so on. Kerana dia keadaan dia yang tak stable kan, dia tak sihat. So do you think they are lazy or they are good engineers? Sorry?
Lazy.
Lazy je. Habis dia demam. Kalau nak ikutkan, dia are reserve untuk duduk rumah, MC. But untuk nak menyiapkan benda tu, dia tak nak benda tu fail by tomorrow untuk nak tender. Dia nak siapkan juga benda tu supaya based on the client satisfaction. So dia come. Dia buat, bagai nak gila buat separuh nyawa. Dia kata dia lazy.
Tak doktor. Tak lazy.
Terkejut saya ni. Atau saya salah interpret yang kata lazy ni sebenarnya satu attitude yang bagus. Saya tahu lazy ni macam teruk ni. Nampak? Atau tu saya kata susah nak judge orang. Kadang-kadang kita tak tahu the situation. Sebab itu saya berhati-hatilah. Saya tak nak judge you as a student. Kata ini. Pasal kita tahu di sebalik tabir tu. Takut berlakunya kezaliman di situ. Sebab itu I list the names. I beritahu okey boleh tak hantar. I tak nak saya silent kata ni tak ada, dia consider kosong. Dia tak buat. Yang ya tak dekat pelajar tu. Dia dah hantar, dia dah buat. Kena pula dia kata tadi dia dah hantar on the on time lah, hantar on time. They are reserved to get that one marks. Suddenly tiba-tiba dia kosong. So macam mana? Dia ya tak pelajar tu? Sebab itu nanti later on you as an engineer you kena ni lah betul-betul jadi engineer yang adil lah, sama selamat dunia akhirat. Itu je nak beritahu kat you lah. Okay, yang ini saya rasa tak perlu bincang pun nanti you bincang sendiri, you tengok dulu condition dia macam mana. Anything come back to me lah, mana benda yang you rasa you tak berapa faham, yang you rasa benda hidden ke and so on lah. Saya akan terangkan, don't worry. I akan. Cuma I nak you yang mulakan lah apa yang you tak faham lah. Boleh I tak nak cerita sini. Okay. Unqualified ni sebenarnya dia nampak kepada dia have a degree but dia tak boleh buat kerja. Itu normal lah student kan. The university melahirkan student graduate engineer because to get the to make it you as engineer, untuk jadikan you seorang engineer, you perlukan ada bachelor honours, engineering honours, then you as engineer. But we produce 3 type of the engineers. Kita ada engineer yang they say that is a reality engineers, iaitu problem solving. Okay, and then we have the engineers yang we call that as a copy and paste engineers. And then we have engineers yang examining engineers. Dia jadi engineer kerana dia exam. Dia jadi engineer kerana dia are the one that copy and paste. Any assignment or any task the lecturer give to that students, dia tak boleh nak start unless dia nak tengok dulu kawan dia buat macam mana. Itu paling baik lah. Kalau teruk sangat, dia copy sebiji and then tukar cover paste saja. Ini contoh. Okay, I proceed lagi. And then there are many reasons why the engineer may want to work in the public sector. Dia kata starting government era sebelum running a number of any project. Okay, the government, they are more in the clients, more in the monitoring. Okay, so some of the engineer, they go for the public sector lah, because first demand very high, the salary also high. Okay, and then easiest to jump here, jump there to demand your career, and then the post also the based on you punya performance. But in governments, for example, they have their levels. They have for example, they have engineers, and then they have timalam pengarah, they have a pengarah, they ada ketua pengarah. So dia tak akan jadi yang dia ada sampai 5 atau 10 pengarah, tak mungkin. So selagi pengarah tu tak pencen, orang tak boleh naik lah. Contohnya, these are benda the things lah. Contohnya. And then we kata for started, the government is for the running a number of the Indian projects. Okay, due to the ni project government, dia kata there are a lot of the opportunity, there are all the disciplines work within them. Okay, it's good lah. Sebenarnya kalau projek macam government ni yang kita nak cakap tu, because dia memang directly, for example JKR, okay, they are, if JKR under road, okay, they are monitoring only the road. If JKR under building, go the buildings. If you are working with JPS, for example, you are dealing with the river, dealing with the dam, doing just concentrate with the drainage system, for example. But if you go for the private sector, okay, you are the one need to multiple punya sektor, kan? Maksudnya you boleh cover, you kena cover even though you are dia no specific punya disiplin, maksudnya tak ada not of structure je, not for the drainage saja. Kalau buat bangunan A to Z, everything under you. If you are the consultants, all the construction drawings you need to monitoring. If you SRE, for example, at the site, or if you are project managers or project engineers at the site, you working with a contractor, for example, you need to see all. Cannot say, oh, I expertise in the structures, I only monitor for the structures only. No. This dia punya makna dia. And then reported benefit working a public sector, dia
Hello.
SPM certificate, for example, and then they send you as a clerk lah. If you only have a diploma, for example, okay, then you to be a technician lah, atau JA, okay. So they will protect with whatever you have lah, based on the higher degree yang you bring, boleh faham? So government are very very straightforward lah. Sama juga macam ini government kan. So based on the you punya qualifications.
Doktor, slide tak ada.
Certain requirement. Okay. Hello. Ada apa?
Doktor, slide tak ada.
Slide tak ada?
Tak nampak.
Tak nampak. Rasa tak. Astaghfirullahaladzim. La khaufun alaihim wa lahum yahzanun. I dah sampai ke slide mana ni? Okey, dah sampai ke 8 dah. Nak ulang balik ke tak payah kot? Nanti you baca sendiri boleh Tapi yang tadi tu faham tak? Jelas tak?
Faham.
Okey. So ini yang dia pun yang nak ceritakan tentang public sector Okey. Begitu juga dari segi servis dia mention servis, okey. They have a need for the job role with the government organisation. Maksudnya saya dah mention tadi bahawa if you are working with majlis, you tahu dah apa sebenarnya you punya responsibility and you punya scope of work. Okay. Begitu juga let's say yang paling jelas nampak, let's say for let's say JPS lah, lagi jelas lah. JPS they are dealing with the sungai, kalau banjir, and then they go for the JPS lah. You are responsibility lah. You are the engineers yang kena follow that rules tu. Kan biasanya kalau you dah working with JPS, you not dealing with the road. Kalau road pecah ke apa ke, not you. Okay, kalau pipe pecah ke apa ke, this is not your responsibility. Faham tak makna servis ni? Maksud dia lebih kepada senang, in bahasa we call that as a more in pengkhususan. Government organisasi ni dia pengkhususan. Macam I mentioned that tadi kan, JKR more in the road, JPS more in the drainage system, river kan, and then kalau dia kata dia melibatkan apa majlis, they go for building and so on boleh and then shorter working hours. Maksud shorter working hours biasanya the government the time is a fix dia kata you working start on the 7:45 and then you can go back on the 4:45. So all the government same. Okay. It's similar also with the lecturers but lecturer they are special case that they bagi the time hour working and so on but the government normally they are fixed dia tak sama macam private sector lah, because private sector kita ni masa kadang-kadang that's why kadang private sector they give the overtime untuk yang bukan non-professional. Dan you tengok contractors itself lah, contractors in the constructions. Kita started with the 8 o'clock and then we stop by 5. Tapi normally we stop by 7. You know why? Because we want to make sure all the work are on schedules. Some if you see they are a little bit delay, let's say for example 2 or 3 days before they are raining, stop the work, you cannot do anything, and then after the weather dry, okay dah cantik, and then you proceed to catch up back yang mana yang dia delay, then you need to spend the time lah working the overtimes, okay, before this until 5, maybe they until 7 or 7 maybe they go until the night. Some contractors they go for the 3 shift. For example, that time or in KLCC they're working 24 hours, so they're back with the 3 shift. So this why they said that based on the demand because as a contractors if they fail to deliver on time, they need to pay. We call that LAD. Okay, clear. And then on the training opportunities and career developments, normally government they have in their KPI, you know KPI, Key Performance Index. There be the skill monitoring the workers per year. They want to know your performance and so on. So in the government, they have the portion the portion marks to do a trainings or to do any, they go involved with any course to help their knowledge to upgrade or to remain their skill. Okay. Or lebih nanti kita panggil extra qualification lah. Because you know in the engineering they will be upgrade time to time. So to make sure you are not make sure you are on track. So you can always di train di give new and so on have boleh these are we call public sector lah. Okay. Ada apa nak tanya with the public sector? Public sector biasa is the government lah yang cakap tadi. So ada apa nak tanya? Hello?
Tak ada.
Tak ada. Okay, now we go for the private sector. Private sector ni memang baguslah challenge lah. Either you are as a contractor or you are consultant or you are client as a developer or you are the supplier. So when you talk about private sector, they say here they say that employment in private sector causes work outside the local, state and the federal. Okay. Macam saya cakap tadi, selain daripada yang I mention tadi lah, iaitu you are not as authorities especially or majlis and so on. So private sector dia kata are focus on the revenue that the public sector. Kita yang bagi servis kat dia orang lah. That's why kadang-kadang dia orang is a public sector JKR. They have their own buildings we call that as quarters, staff quarters for example, atau police Police is the public sector police. So they have katakanlah quarter police. So you are the one tu yang akan nak buat benda tu. So macam you are support dia lah. You are review for the public sector lah. You support dia. And then dia kata engineer want to work private sector because it's a more flexibility in that very aspect environment lah. Macam saya cakap tadi kan, apa kebaikan, I dah mention je tadi kan, kebaikan public sector tadi lah. Dia ada bonus and then you can demand. Dia tak ada orang kata fit punya skill tau. Kalau government ni, kalau you hanya ada degree je, engineer je, you cannot, tak boleh request for JUSA, tak boleh request for I to be a pengarah, I to be a ketua pengarah. We say sorry to you. But in public sector, ada di kalangan contractor itself, because even though you are not engineers, but you are very experienced, is a good workers working with that company more than 10 years. They give you as a project managers, even though you are not engineers, even though you are only a diploma holder. They acting you as a project managers. But they never say call you as engineer lah, because you are not registered to the board. Tapi you acting as project manager. Some tu kalau dia start daripada company kecil and then sampai, contoh my company Bridgecon, dia punya director is a surveyor. Surveyor biasa macam je dok ni, tapi dia dah work dengan that Bridgecon tu almost 20 years. So they are the director, one of the part of the shareholders kat situ. So that's why I was suka lah on the public sector ni. And then you can jump there, jump here, demand yourself, sell yourself lah. Bukan jual harga diri jangan salah faham. Sell yourself ni maksudnya you are reserved for that. Macam saya dulu pun sama lah. Tapi saya tak jual lah, kebetulan lah. Dua orang yang I'm the one boleh lah develop macam tu. So dia offer, dia datang ni lah bagi you 24,000. Do you imagine 24,000? Kalau full professor JUSA pun baru 12,000. 2 times. Nampak tak? Private biasa memang tinggi lah. My friend dia lecture dekat Inti College. Pasal Inti College tak ada civil engineering, tapi dia mengajar construction management. Because college non-engineering ni biasa dia go for the construction management. So macam kalau di UTCM FATP lah kan, Dia belajar consultancy management. Dia request for 18,000. Dia tak bagi 18,000 because dia tak ada doktor. But they have IR and experience. So dia bayar 12,000. Do you imagine that? Without the doctor, just teach one syllabus regarding the consultancy management, tapi dia attach lah to that university lah, jadi staff that university. 12,000. Nampak tak private? Faham maksud dia? Let's say I'm as an engineer dekat private. Masa dia bayar okey dekat 6,000 7,000. Tapi you kalau kerja government engineer start berapa? 41. Lebih kurang dalam 2,500 kot, 3,000 kot. Macam tu. So private biasanya mahal lah. Tapi macam saya cakap tadi lah, dia tak secure macam government lah. Kerana COVID ni habis lah. Memang you nampaknya tak ada bekerja lah. Because no job kan. Bila no job, dia tak perlukan you, dia terpaksa tamatkan dia perkhidmatan lah. Okay. So they have a major benefit pula. Dia macam-macam lah facility dia bagi. Yang paling saya best sekali tu bonus lah, bonus shock lah. Masa saya kat Fakultas pernah lah dapat lah 4 bulan lah bonus. Tapi yang paling banyak bonus sebenarnya yang working dekat Produa lah, yang saya pernah jumpa masa saya bekerja sebagai kontraktor dulu. Produa banyak lah. Dia bagi 12 bulan bonus lah. Masa tu kereta Myvi baru keluar lah. Orang banyak memang suka lah, sampai permintaan Myvi ni memang dahsyat. Memang tinggi lah Myvi punya request kan. Masa tu diorang dapat bonus, tak silap saya 18 bulan kot. Dia bayar 18 bulan. Kalau engineer tu gaji dia katalah Produa katalah 3,000. Kalau 18 bulan berapa lah? Can you imagine that? Cuma smartnya Produa tu, dia tak bagi one shot lah. Dia tak bagi one lump. Dia bagi dia break setiap bulan. So setiap bulan dia bagi 3 bulan bonus, setiap bulan 3 bulan. Okey lah. Masuk gaji makna setiap bulan dapat 4 kali time gaji. Kalau you 3,000 setiap bulan dapat 12,000 lah. Okey. Jelas tak? Boleh? Interesting Okey, ini apa? Ini
Slide
private.
doktor hilang. Slide
Boleh?
hilang.
Slide hilang lagi. Asal dia sekejap hilang lah. Tapi tak apalah. At least you dengar kan apa yang saya cakap kan.
Dengar.
Yang penting you faham lah. Dekat slide you pun ada note kan. You boleh buka with your own slide is it? Okay, kita teruskan lagi. Apa yang kita boleh cerita regarding this. These are regulations of the public sector engineer who used to work in the private sector lah. Macam saya dah cakap tadi lah, banyak benda-benda yang bila kata private sector makna you memang betul-betul kena genuine lah. Baru you maju lah. Baru orang boleh tengok you and then baru you boleh naik and so on lah. So ada pre and con lah. Nanti you read your own benda ni So ni are more in the dimension regarding the you punya bila kita kata bila bekerja di public sector, apa advantages dia and apa disadvantages dia, itu private sector apa disadvantages dia, apa dia punya advantages dia. Boleh ada highlight tadi kan. I rasa you faham kan benda tu Okay. Nanti kalau tak faham nanti you come back to me Okay, now organization culture. Okay, when we talk about organization culture, dia kata dia are vital components within the organizations. Kalau you tengok kat sini, dia akan kata dari segi expectation, pattern, okay. Some they have a unwritten punya rules Ini yang kita kata organization culture lah. Okay. So dia macam yang tadi lah, apapun dia bergantung kepada setiap company tu, rule company tu bergantung kepada your experience, okay. dan apa yang ada dalam company itself tu. Maksudnya apa company punya expertise. Itu maksudnya organization culture lah. Okay, let's say you working with the consultant. So that culture of the consultant are do a design and then monitoring at the site. Itu culture dia. Kalau contractor, apa dia punya culture? Okay, dia kena call for the tender, dia kena beli tender, okay, fulfill with the tender and then get the job. Dia are the one need to do the physical work at the site kan. Okay, dengan formwork, dengan reinforcement, dengan concreting and so on lah. Nanti you baca kat sini. Dengan itu you faham benda tu, then you tahulah apa yang benda yang tersirat dekat dalam tu. Yang ini dia lebih bagi dia untuk identify lah, dia punya identity sesuatu organisation punya culture dia. Boleh tak? Jelas tak benda tu? Macam cakap tadi, tak nak jadi a good reader for you, read line by line because you can read your own. I nak cuma you faham je benda tu. Boleh? Jelas? So jadi nampak? Tengok yang ketiga punya term tu. Dia kata apa? We need to recognize and deliver value to the customer. In investor we give a right or sama. Apa pun dia based on the client satisfaction. So jadi to make it the goodness, legacy, so dia need to occupied. The staff should be occupied. The staff is you lah as an engineers. How you develop that organization to make it a good culture for that organisation tu. Tu culture akan jadi berbeza lah dengan setiap berbezanya organisasi tu kan. Culture dekat consultant takkanlah sama dengan culture with the contractors, nampak tak? Boleh tapi the behavior, the ethic and so on sama. Okay, and then kalau kita kata the organisation ni kat sini dia bagi beberapa dia punya type of the companies lah. First dia kata engineer oriented companies, customer oriented companies and then financial oriented companies. Benda ni lebih spesifikkan kepada dia punya grouping. Okay, sebenarnya saya dah cover semua tu yang saya cerita tadi ni. Cuma macam mana dia klasifikasikan benda tu, classifykan benda tu, dia type benda tu, type of the engineering organisation tadi tu Dia kata engineer oriented company, customer oriented company and the finance oriented company. Okay, boleh serve dia banyak membuat kerja-kerja yang dia punya task. Biasanya boleh dikatakan engineer oriented company ni dia macam consultant lah. Consultant is a engineer oriented company lah. Dia prominent dengan dia punya dia punya disiplin tadi tu. Because dia go for the final decision regarding cost, marketing and so on. Boleh insyaAllah Client oriented dia tu. Okay. And then when we go for the customer oriented companies, so they be a decision making as similar with the engineer oriented firm. Okay. But we are four significant kata okay, managers they allocate for timing and cost more emphasize these business considerations. Lepas tu dari segi safety and quality and so on. Communication between the engineers and the managers may be more difficult. Okay, so these customer oriented companies dia lebih kepada orang kata service because dia lebih kepada how they serve. Boleh? InsyaAllah jelas dia boleh bergerak ada dia kontraktor atau dia konsultan, tapi dia lebih kepada how dia punya they serve to the client. Boleh insyaAllah. So and then finance oriented company, okay, these four are more centralized. Okay, engineer may receive information for the making decision. Consider engineer decision are given a less weight for the manager, lesser the inclined for each. Considers the engineers as staff administrative functions. Okay.
Doktor, tak nampak slide.
Sorry. Hello.
Slide tak nampak.
Slide tak nampak. Alamak, asal teruk sangat hari ni Saya ingat next time kena tak boleh buat jugalah kat office pasal dia selalu hilang-hilang. Kita buat dekat ni kot kita buat dekat rumah kot. Okey, so macam inilah apa yang saya boleh nak bagi tahu. Okey, untuk topik 3 ni semua melibatkan tentang engineer punya organisasi, yang mana dia punya main point dia kat mana you punya function F engineers untuk nak serve the type of the company study and then the type of the you to manage that punya company tu. Jelas tak? Jadi apa yang saya boleh mention, kita pun dah pukul 6, saya pun tak ada masa kan. Kesian kat you sekejap hilang, kejap saya sendiri pula terkeluar. So the note with you try to read back benda tu to make it more clear. And then I rasa minggu depan saya cuba macam ni lah. Saya cuba baca dia punya subtitle tu, and then saya akan elaboratekan benda tu. Dan kalau you boleh baca sendiri, then you terus find out mana benda-benda yang you rasa you tak berapa faham. Okay, then saya akan jelaskan. Pasal benda-benda penting you kena tahulah dalam this chapters pasal dia akan menguji you di dalam you punya test test 2 dan juga good for you as a civil engineer dalam sesuatu organisasi tu, supaya you boleh tahu kalau apakah kerja-kerja atau tanggungjawab atau benda yang related dengan engineer oriented company atau customer oriented company ataupun finance oriented company. Mungkin you involved with salah satu benda tu. Okay. Dan yang penting sekali dalam function of the engineer dekat dalam sesuatu organisasi tu. Dari segi dia punya proper engineering decision PD, atau dia punya proper management decision PMD, salah satulah. Kalau proper engineering decision, apa yang patut nak buat. Kalau management, how to manage, apa dia pula yang melibatkan benda tu, supaya any question come, you know to answer, ataupun any benda yang you akan berdepan sebagai civil engineer later on di dunia industri, di alam actual you as a civil engineers, apa yang you nak buat, apa yang sepatutnya yang you boleh survive dengan benda tu, supaya dia bantu dari segi you punya career development lah. Macam I always mention to you kan, kita punya target kalau lah you graduate, you as a site engineers, kita tak nak after 5 years you still as a site engineers. Either you as a project engineers or contract managers or project managers lah macam tu. Okay, boleh Clear tak? Ingat I stop sampai kat sini dulu for the temporary. Okay, next week insyaAllah kita finishkan semua dengan chapter 3. Mana kita tak terlewat kan, memang next week patut the last chapter 3 kan. So kita cover benda tu. Supaya kita kalau cepat kita boleh masuk ke chapter 4. Okay, clear tak? Any questions? Or any suggestions? Kena banyak bersabar ni untuk apa JM ni Digital Masyarakat ni atau Society of Engineers. Pasal benda ni dia that's why I tak nak too formal lah. Saya suka lebih kepada sharing session supaya kita boleh share benda tu. Supaya tidak nanti dia jadi macam kaku lah kalau kita go for the line by line for the notes, dia akan jadi kaku. Okay.
Betul.
Boleh? Any questions? Okay, nak tanya apa?
Nak tanya pasal projek.
Okay.
Progress report tu nak tulis macam mana?
Progress report tu maksudnya projek ni bukannya last minute tau. Bukan satu hari you buat. Maksudnya setiap minggu mesti ada some discussion tau among your teams. And then with that the discussion mesti ada benda-benda yang you bincangkan. Mesti ada some progress. Itu dipanggil progress report lah.
Maksudnya macam minute meeting ke?
Minute meetings is betul lah macam minute meetings, tapi minute meeting dia very short. Kerana minute meeting dia lebih kepada apa yang kita tanya jawab dia tu. Tapi kalau progress report ni, kalau misal kata let's say you kata okay minggu ni you menceritakan, kalau minute meeting dia biasa cakap je okay minggu ni kita menceritakan masalah sistem pemaritan di kat sana atau masalah banjir kat sana. Itu je. Tapi bila kata progress report, dia kata okay kita menceritakan masalah banjir yang mana apa yang you cerita tentang masalah banjir tadi tu. Adalah dia punya point form dia. Lepas tu adalah siapa yang akan you mula how you delegate the task tu kepada you punya members. Itu dah melibatkan report lah, yang katakan bentuk report tadi tu lah. Kalau meeting kita terus cakap dia progress meeting. Dia tak jadi progress report. Bila progress report dia akan melibatkan report lah. Dia mesti dia punya output tu berbentuk report lah. Maksudnya lebih kepada task-task yang you bincangkan tu. Jelas tak?
So buat dalam bentuk paragraf lah.
Bentuk paragraf yang bentuk apa? You dah pergi LI tak?
Dah.
Macam mana you LI you punya report LI? Macam tu. Jelas tak?
Macam logbook betul.
Macam logbook Betul? Macam logbook. Tepat sekali. Macam logbook betul? Okay, boleh saya sharekan you for attendance?
Okay, Doctor, thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay. You boleh start lah. Scan your attendance. minta maaf lah, hari ni teruk pula internet